Hi guys, and welcome back to World of Tanks, and I'm going to be taking a look at the new Kraft's Panzer IV, which is, or the Kraft's Panzer IV-H, which is the first of a new batch of comic book tanks that will be hitting World of Tanks console. Obviously the previous ones, British Bulldog, Boilermaker, Snakebite, etc. And obviously Kraft's Panther. And it's because there's a new series of World of Tanks comic books coming out as well, so we're going to get the tanks from that now. I believe, although I could be wrong, it might not be a comic book tank, but there is another one coming, and it mentions it actually in the op description for the Soviet Dream Machines, one called the Deathstalker. And just before I talk about this, I'm just going to mention that actually because I didn't notice it before, and I don't think I'm quite happy about this. I don't know. I'm not quite sure how I feel about it, but anyway, it kind of, you know, it does involve the Kraft's Panzer IV and the STG and this Deathstalker that's coming. You can see there, Dream Machine bonus. Basically, those three tanks, STG, Kraft, and this Deathstalker, are classed as Dream Machines. And for the earn up at the minute, you see there it says the Deathstalker, but if you buy one, it basically unlocks the ability to earn 1 bonus point per match, and that's stackable as well. So if you bought the STG and you come in the top 5 on your team, you will earn a bonus point. And it doesn't have to be in the STG, that's in any tank, any tier 3 to 10 tank, you will earn a bonus point. So if you came first, you'd earn 6 points as opposed to 5. Now if you bought the Kraft's Panther the Kraft's Panzer as well, you would then get 2 bonus points for coming in the top 5. So, you know, potentially if you come first, that's 7 points per match. If you then bought the Deathstalker as well, yeah, you see where this is going, it stacks up, it will be 3 bonus points. So if you actually bought all 3 tanks, you'd have the potential to be earning 8 points per match, as opposed to the normal potential of 5. And I'm not entirely sure that I'm quite happy about that, the way they've done that. It basically, you buy these 3 tanks and you will have a better chance of earning, you know, the tanks from the op. And I don't know. I don't think I quite agree with that, to be honest. Let me know what you think in the comments. Whether you agree with that, whether you don't see a problem with it, I don't know. I just, yeah, to me it just doesn't sit right, and it doesn't kind of seem right. But you know, maybe I'm just being funny about it. I really don't know. But anyway, we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about the Kraft's Panzer IV. Now, when I first saw this, I did actually just think it was a reskinned Panzer IV. And essentially it is, but there are some differences as well. Some of you may have seen a tweet. Where's my phone? There we go. Some of you may have seen a tweet that I did, you know, the other day about the differences between this, and I think they were all of them apart from ground resistances. This does have ever so slightly better ground resistances, literally by something like 0.1 or 0.01 or something. You know, really nominal, but they are better. You know, it is there. But there are some changes to it that I was a bit surprised about, to be honest, and it kind of some of the stats seem closer to the Panzer IV Hydro than the actual Panzer IV-H, and it almost performance-wise seems to sit in the middle. It's got less of a rate of fire than the Tech Tree Panzer IV, which I really don't understand, which gives it the same rate of fire as the Panzer IV Hydro. But don't forget the Hydro does get preferential matchmaking. However, that is kind of balanced out a little bit by the fact it's only got 50 mil of armour on the front, whereas obviously the Panzer IV-H has 80 on the front of the hull, although they do have the same turrets and same turret armour. So yeah, like I say, I'm a little bit surprised by some of it. It is, however, a nice looking reskin. Very in keeping, very realistic looking, you know, sort of for those of you that prefer the more historically accurate sort of looking things. Yeah, it's a really nice looking Panzer IV-H. Unfortunately, the extra wheels and tracks on the front do not count as extra armour or spaced armour, which is, I don't know. I think they probably should have done. With the changes, with the lesser rate of fire that this has, I think that kind of would have given you more of an incentive to buy it, possibly. And coupled with the fact that, and I know it's not much, but we'll get to that in a moment, but where that panel of that bazooka plate, side plate, whatever you want to call it, but where that panel is missing on the side, obviously it's on the other side, and quite obviously, rightly so, the panel is not there, so you do not have any spaced armour for that front section, that sort of front third of the right hand side of your tank. There is no spaced armour there, whereas obviously on the Tech Tree one, you know, it's all there. But yeah, it is a nice looking skin, and well, yeah, it's alright. I was just thinking about what to say then, but I think I'll cover that in over the replay bit. So let's just have a look at it and see if I can try and highlight some of the differences for you and let you know. Its base price in the Tankopedia, by the way, is 2,300 gold, which isn't too bad. A bit high, I think, for a tier 5. Possibly a bit high for this still, maybe. But again, I'll sort of go on about that. I'll go on about how I probably or possibly would have done this tank, which I think, I don't know whether it would have been a better idea or not. You know, who's to say? Anyway, so there's a lot that is the same. They've both got the same size engine, and this is obviously comparing it to the tech tree version. So they both have a 440 horsepower engine. However, there are some differences with power to weight, which is why I'm a bit like, I don't understand some of the changes to this with how it's gone off. But anyway, you only get 13.95 rounds a minute, which is just over around a minute less than the Tech Tree Panzer IV-H, which gets 15 rounds a minute. Penetration and damage and everything, that's all the same. You know, it's essentially the same gun. Aim time, however, is different. This is only 2 seconds, whereas the Panzer IV-H, the Tech Tree one, gets 2.3 seconds. Accuracy ever so slightly improved at 0.38 as opposed to 0.39 on the Tech Tree version. Okay, so they dropped the rate of fire, but improved aim time and accuracy slightly. I kind of see why they were possibly doing it, as somebody said, so that it's the same but different on Twitter, but I don't know. I think dropping the rate of fire personally was a mistake. I think that was a mistake. But anyway, back to the differences. Hull traverse is 35 degrees. On the Tech Tree one, it is 32 degrees, and this is again just these are the base stats, you know, without crew skills or anything else. And obviously, it's a fully upgraded Panzer IV-H. And don't forget, these stats are correct at the time of recording this video, but maybe subject to change. There you go. What else was I doing? Turret traverse 46 degrees, whereas on the Tech Tree one it's 44 degrees, and view range 330 meters. You get 350 on the actual Tech Tree Panzer IV-H. So yeah, there are some differences, some odd ones that I don't seem to make sense, if you see what I mean. If they wanted to make it different, I don't know. I probably would have kept the rate of fire, and maybe to represent Kraft, supposedly being a really good commander, maybe giving it a bit of a boost to accuracy. But then the problem is, it would outperform the Tech Tree one. This is the problem you've got. But like I say, I just a thought about how I would have done it, and I'll cover that shortly. So the other one is signal range. You only get 620. I think you get more signal range on the Tech Tree one, but I didn't really look at that, unfortunately, so I apologise, but there you go. It is what it is. So yeah, a few differences. Nice looking skin, as I say. It's nice, it's sort of accurate. I kind of like the damage, although as I said before, you do lose spaced armour on there, so I don't know, maybe possibly have done the damage a bit differently so you didn't lose a big chunky spaced armour on the side. Like I say, I know it's not a lot, but it's, it sets HE off, and there is that chance that it could prevent something. So yeah, supplies wise, same cost, 70, 2,838. I've just put standard repair kit on. I've got a very standard sort of medium tank setup again, gun lane drive, gun rammer, coated optics, especially because it's got less of a view range than the Tech Tree one as well. And don't forget, like I say, that's the same rate of fire as a Panzer IV Hydro, but that's in a preferential matchmaking bracket. And the rate of fire, although it's still alright, it's still it's still decent enough, it kind of is noticeable over the Tech Tree Panzer IV-H. And I think the GUP as well, because I think the GUP also has the 15 rounds a minute, because I think that is just a straight reskin of the Panzer IV-H. Maybe that's why they didn't want to do that with this, I don't know. And I know, there'll be people that will be complaining if it was a straight reskin, but I just, like I said, I just don't understand some of the changes that they've made to it. Is just a bit odd. But anyway, well, the crew, as you can see, I've still got Kraft in there. You may keep Kraft in it, you may use it as a crew trainer and stick another crews in. Somebody did ask me about the crew training thing as well, so I'll try and explain a little bit of that over the replay bit as well. So engine wise, but it's all laid out the same basically inside. But this is the other bit that's a bit confusing. That must have been quite a heavy weight of steel on that bazooka plate, because the power to weight ratio is quite different on this as well. So they've both got a 440 horsepower engine, but the Kraft's Panther gets a power to weight ratio of 18.92, whereas the Tech Tree one gets 17.53. That's quite a difference. You know, it doesn't sound a lot, but in performance wise, and again coupled with slightly better terrain resistances as well, that is quite a difference. So yeah, that must have been a very heavy steel plate on the front there. Anyway, the other thing it also gets is an increased top speed of 45 kilometers an hour. Now the Panzer IV Hydro is 48 kilometers an hour. The Tech Tree Panzer IV is 40 kilometers an hour. So that's where I'm sort of hinting at. Again, the Panzer IV Hydro has some better traverses than this, and obviously way better than the Panzer IV-H. And that's where, I mean, it kind of sits sort of in between performance-wise of the two vehicles in a way. The other thing is that this gets 20 in reverse, and the Tech Tree one only gets 18 in reverse. So it's had its, you know, its top speeds, both forward and reverse, buffed as well, and its power to weight ratio. So yeah, I don't know. Like I say, just a little bit odd in some respects, some of these. Yeah, the only thing I think is same but different. But yeah, just some of the changes are a bit odd to me and a bit confusing, but there you go. Gun-wise, in fact, something I didn't notice, the accuracy on the moving tank and rotating turret, which I never checked, but 20 degree elevation and 10 degrees of depression, which is, again, standard, the same. I want to say that got buffed a long time ago, actually. I'm sure it only used to be -8, but there you go. Accuracy on moving tank and rotating turret, again, are slightly... So that's this is the Tech Tree Panzer IV-H, so 0.59 moving, 1.18 while rotating the turret, and I'm pretty sure the Kraft's one wasn't as good as that. I should have done this before, I really should, so I do apologise. Yeah, 0.56 and 1.22, so yeah, up and down, better on one, worse on the other. Again, just a bit odd, just weird changes, but anyway. Terrain resistances, 0.9, 1 and 2.1. I think it's something like 1, 1.1 and 2.3 on the Tech Tree one, or thereabouts. So yeah, very small difference, but again, these are slightly better. It does translate to, you know, a difference in performance of acceleration, etc., and again, coupled with that higher power to weight ratio as well. Turrets on top. Radio, same location, down in the front middle. Ammo blocks, I believe, are in the same location as well. I think everything else, layout-wise, is exactly the same as a normal one. Obviously, it does get slightly better concealment to compensate for the fact that it's got perma camo. But in theory, if you put camo on a Tech Tree one, it would have the same concealment rating of this at 0.30 and 0.23. Crew members in the same place, so you've got your driver and radio operator down in the hull, and then gunner, loader and commander, Carl Kraft, up in the turret itself. And armour wise is exactly the same as a standard Panzer IV-H, which we've all seen, most of us have probably been through, if not everybody, but you've all come up against them on the battlefield, I would imagine. So you're looking at 80 on the front of the hull, 30 on the sides, 20 on the rear, and the turret is 50, 30 and 30. And again, the only difference is that you're missing that plate on the front. Otherwise, it's exactly the same. And don't forget that with these, the commander's hatch is actually the toughest part of the tank, which is a little bit tricky. And probably the easiest place to pen is the turret either side of the gun mantle. Well, that's if you can't just pen the turret, the hull straight away. You know, I'm looking mostly at the lower tiers rather than anything else in here. So yeah, there's not really a great deal to say or show about the armour. Again, you know, it's a common tank, it's one that's been in game for a long time. There's no surprises or anything like that. The armour, in theory, you know, is slightly worse because it's missing that panel. But yeah, we know how to get through these, so I'm not really going to go into that too much. So yeah, that's about it really. Standard matchmaking, which I've probably mentioned already. The only other thing are its bonuses, a 46% silver bonus and a 40% XP bonus. So yeah, there you go. Anyway, let's get into the gameplay, and I'll talk about possibly what I may have done with this, but see what you guys think. Right, so here we are for the first of the replays. It's a tier 5 match. Now, something I did forget to mention, well, not forget to mention, I just didn't mention it yet. in the garage was the fact that this tank does obviously come with the Kraft crew with the supply conservation skill already on it. Now the supply conservation skill, for those of you that don't know, basically, and don't forget, if you like swap that skill for something else, you've lost it. You cannot retrain it. It's gone forever. So, you know, just for those of you that weren't aware, there you go. But yeah, what it actually does, it's basically a percentage chance that when you use a consumable in battle, it will actually not be unused. It will basically, you'll keep it. So yeah, sometimes you'll use your repair kit, whatever. Your supply conservation skill will kick in, and you'll actually keep the repair kit that you've just used. But that's what that does. So it is nice that it comes with that crew with that skill. So for anybody that hasn't got that crew, might be worth waiting until it's on its cheapest bundle to pick it up. For that, it's it's not a massive percentage chance like any of these skills. They're not high percentages. They are pretty low ones. But it is there, and obviously it does come with that. And I believe that if you already own obviously Kraft's Panther with the Kraft crew, I think you will obviously get a second crew with this because it's in the tank. So that's what we've been led to believe. I think that's correct, but again, don't quote me on that. But I'm pretty sure that's the case. Now, I did mention in the garage possibly what I would have done with this. Now, just hear me out with this before you start shouting, that I've lost it and, I've finally cracked. I don't know what I'm on about anymore. Just hear me out. Because it might be a bit of a surprise, what I'm about to say. Judging, going on sort of things I've said about previous sort of reskins and what have you. But I don't know. I mean, it was just a thought. But personally, what I would have done with this tank, and it is just a thought, is... And I think this is possibly the only time that this would have actually been, sufficed, acceptable, and preferable, is just done a straight reskin. And yeah, I know, just hear me out. Just done a straight reskin of a Panzer IV. With this skin, and obviously put the Kraft crew in it, but just made it cheap. Sold it for about 1,500 gold. Cheap and cheerful, tier 5 premium, just straight reskin of a Panzer IV-H with the Kraft crew, 1,500 gold, and I think that would have sold a lot better, and I think it would have been really good value, and I think personally that's what I would have done. Maybe, I don't know what you guys think. And it's not very often that you'll hear me say, yeah, a straight reskin would have been better, but I don't know. In this case, I just get the feeling it might have been. Or if not a straight reskin, giving it sort of buffs or bonuses in another place. So if they really did want to lower that rate of fire and what have you, fair enough, lower the rate of fire. Leave the power to weight ratio the same, leave the traverses the same, but make the extra road wheels and track on the front extra armour or spaced armour, and done it that way, giving it that little bit of a difference or that little bit of a something special. But yeah, I don't know. I just, like I say, I just can't help get the feeling that this is one time where a straight reskin probably would have been preferable, and just done it as cheap as anything, cheap as chips. But yeah, just cheap and cheerful, 1,500 gold with that crew. I don't know. Maybe that would have been a better idea. Maybe I am just losing the plot. I really don't know. But yeah, it's you can feel that difference in the power to weight ratio. It's not a lot, but you can feel it. I was in a couple of matches with Tech Tree Panzer IV-H's that you could see were fully upgraded, and I did outpace them on acceleration. It was a very small difference at first, but then it became more prevalent, and with the top speed as well. So you can feel it, but there were also times where I kind of felt that drop in rate of fire. Artie's really wanting to take me down, and there's a couple of instances there where I really was pleased of that spaced armour on the side, because Artie hit it, and obviously it just negated it, which was quite nice. But yeah, there was the odd time where that sort of, I did kind of feel that drop in rate of fire, where you know, it's sort of, if I'd have just had that one more round, you know, that one more round per minute, I probably would have killed them quicker, taken a bit less damage, or I would have you know, got that hit in, taken them out, and not taken any damage. You know, where you sort of got a hit in, you needed one more, they managed to hit you before you could sort of reload, that kind of thing. Or, you know, there was the odd case where I just couldn't help but feel that it kind of cost me. And, you know, I ended up dying and thinking, if I'd have had that better rate of fire, that 15 rounds a minute as opposed to 13.95, I might have survived that encounter. You know, I might not have been on great health, but I might have survived that encounter and been able to do more damage to the enemy team. So yeah, you can, like I say, you can feel the increase in mobility, but you can also kind of feel that decrease in rate of fire. The increase to aim time is nice, and the increase to accuracy is, to be honest, just negligible. Didn't really notice a difference at all, but it is such a small change. You know, it's one of those things. And, you know, somebody did make a comment about Kraft is supposed to be an ace, you know, an excellent tanker, excellent commander, etc., with a good crew. Why would he have less rate of fire? Maybe that's why it's got the increased aim time and whatever to sort of represent that. I don't know. Anyway, as I said before, some of the decisions and some of the changes that they've made with this do seem a little bit odd to me, and just a little bit confusing in a way. But yeah, not a bad match. 1200 damage, I suppose. It's alright, but you can see I did get some bonus points there as well, because obviously this is the press account. I have bought the STG and obviously the Kraft Panzer IV on here. Not that I need to unlock anything or earn anything on this account. But yeah, so that's what I was on about. I'm not sure if I kind of agree with that. If you buy these two tanks, you'll get more points in the op, and you know, you'll earn your stuff quicker. Yeah, I'm not too sure. Anyway, tier 6 match now here on mines, and just thinking about where to go. I think I'm going to head down this way and see if I can get some shots across. I don't want to go up onto the hill or try and fight for the hill in a tier 6 match. You know, most tier 5s will pen your front pretty easily. I can't think of many that sort of struggle to pen the front of a Panzer IV H. If you angle it a little bit and from a distance, you know, that sort of thing. But tier 6s, yeah, they're not gonna have any trouble. So I think I'll head around the outskirts a little bit and see what I can see from over here. Now again, apart from, you know, like I say, the changes that I've mentioned and sort of the other ways of how the tank feels, there's not much else to say about it. For all intents and purposes, it's a Panzer IV H. You know, it's got decent gun depression, so it can work alright on ridge lines. You know, the commander's hatch is the sort of toughest part of the tank, or at least the sort of main centre strip is. Accuracy isn't great, but then again, it's better than some stuff down at the tier. Not much, but you know, some stuff, I suppose. But yeah, all intents and purposes, it's Panzer IV H. I did manage to get his commander's hatch though, although I don't think I'm going to get it again. No. No, and I think I do end up having to fire a few premium rounds in this match as well, which, you know, that 110 pen, it's fine, you know, in tier 5 matches. There's a few things that you might struggle against frontally, whatever. It's not too bad. Tier 6 matches, that 110 pen does start to become a bit sort of telling and a bit lackluster, quite a bit, to be honest. And then when you're in tier 7 matches, it can be pretty horrible, that 110 pen. So, you know, as with the Tech Tree Panzer IV H, you're going to have to fire it. But somebody else made a good point that one of the things about the Panzer IV H that can make it so much fun is its derp gun. You know, it's 10.5cm howitzer, and not everybody likes the howitzers and the derp guns and what have you, but it is, you know, it can be a fun tank with that derp gun on it. It really can, especially when you're top tier. You can have some really, really good fun with that derp gun, especially if you can sort of flank around as well. And you know, it's kind of a shame. I know that you know, they probably wouldn't have had the derp gun on this anyway. But in a way, with this having the extra mobility and speed, it would have been really fun to have a go at this with the derp gun. Because of that extra mobility, it means you could really get around on people and flank them. Definitely a lot quicker. But this match is, yeah, it's falling apart. You can see I've had to switch to premium ammo, and that was mostly to deal with the Jap Heavy, the OI experimental. I know he's only got 75 on the front, but with him being there, with the enemy tanks outnumbering us so much, I just needed to make sure I was penning and try, at least, to take them down. And with the angle at that, I don't know if it was I think it was a KV of some description. Did manage to take him down. Probably should have swapped back to non-premium ammo, but again, you know, with how few of us are left, you know, me and that heavy, it's a case of I need to make sure these go in. I need to make sure I'm doing damage, because things are going to go pear-shaped very quickly, as you can see. Yeah, things have, yeah, they've gone way beyond pear-shaped now, and that's me done as well, unfortunately. Stug 3G managed to take me down. There you go, Kraft Panzer 4H. Essentially a Panzer 4H with a skin on it, but with some odd differences. Did lose quite a bit of money in there. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. Yeah, I went a bit full scrub there, didn't I, with the premium. But yeah, there you go, there it is. Personally, I would have sold it a bit cheaper. Its base price isn't too savage. You could argue that it's kind of worth it for the crew, but that's, you know, down to you guys at the end of the day. Not so, and it's a shame. I think I've got all the other comic book tanks, and I don't think I want to get this one. I would be buying it just to complete the comic book tank collection personally, and I don't think it's, I just don't think it's worth it for me. But then again, you know, it's your money at the end of the day. That's your choice. I'll just try and give you the details and give you a few opinions on the tank itself. But there you go. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed that. I'll be back with another video hopefully tomorrow, but that'll be LA Noir for those of you that enjoy that series. So for those of you that don't watch that, have a great weekend, and take care of it then. I'll catch you next time. See you later.